Yeah, I was waiting for the box score, but as I was sitting there thinking, it's really not about numbers today. Obviously, the day didn't go the way we wanted it to go. We hoped to stay in the tournament longer than we did. It didn't work out that way for us. But on days like today, you look back at the body of work that we had this year, and I told the guys that I was proud of how far we came as a team in my first year. Just what we were able to get accomplished on the field as a team, as student athletes, what we were accomplished in the classroom. We created, and not that, don't get me wrong, not that there was anything wrong with the environment or that there was need for change in anything. Coach Todd's career was Hall of Fame-like, but any new coach and new staff is going to bring some new things in. I feel like we created the culture and the environment this year that I was looking for, and I give my coaching staff credit, and obviously give the student athletes in the program credit for handling the transition well, and really grasping what we were delivering.
Thanks, Coach. We'll start with questions from the student athletes.
I know it ends only 10 minutes old, but so it might be tough to look back. But do you guys sort of feel like the standard has been set? You know what I mean? Like the kind of the culture and all that he was talking about is really kind of went the way it wanted to go this year, and you can build on this.
Yeah, I think our season went really well, and I'm really proud of everybody on the team. I'm looking forward to next year playing with all these guys, except for those 7 seniors that'll be gone. They did a hell of a job this year also, and I'm really proud of everybody.
Yeah, you know, it's definitely, like Coach said, anytime you get a new guy in, you're going to have a little bit of transition period. And, you know, we didn't have that much experience coming back. So we had a lot of guys that, you know, were jumping into new roles. You know, me and Greg were one of them. And I think everyone, you know, handled it well, and we all matured, and that's definitely going to help us in the future. And, you know, it's just, yeah, these 7 seniors are definitely going to miss all of them.
Kim, we just you could sense that you guys knew at the very beginning that this had to be a kind of team that had to take advantage of every little thing in order to give yourself a chance to win. When did you sense that this team kind of was playing with its heads up all the time?
You know, we just, I think we just started getting confident that, you know, you just got to do the right things when you need to. You know, Coach told us he'd rather have us go 1 for 4 with a couple RBIs than 2 or 3 for 4 with no runs scored and no RBIs. So I think everyone, you know, tries to take advantage of every opportunity, and when we do those things, you know, we get the win. And sometimes, you know, this game, you're hitting a round ball with a round bat and it doesn't fall your way, and when that happens, you know, it's a tough game.
Just you take that 3-1 lead and you see them come right back and put 6 up there. Kind of what are your thoughts as you kind of see your season kind of slipping away there?
That's baseball. You know, it's not always going to go your way, and we played our best we did today, and it wasn't enough to get the win. But that's baseball. Having a 3-1 lead and then having the other team score runs.
Any more questions for the student athletes?
I agree, you came a long way to play. You said you didn't see snow until you got here, or whatever. What was it like being part of something new?
It was awesome. It was fun, and that's the reason I came here, because I knew that it was something new for me. Being as far away as I am from Arizona, I was excited, and I am excited. I'm glad I chose to come here. And now that we have a new coaching staff, then what I was recruited by, I'm glad. I love these guys, these coaches, and they really know what they're doing, and I'm really looking forward to next year and playing for them.
What will you guys take away the most from the season?
You know, I think it's just the whole learning how to play and, you know, really playing with each other as a team. I think, you know, we all found our role pretty early in the season, you know, midway through, and then we all really stuck to that. And I think that's in a game like this, that's going to take us a long way. All these guys that didn't have a lot of experience, myself included, it's just that we learned that so early in the ball game. I think that's going to help us the most.
Anything else for the student athletes?
For either of you, how hard was the turnaround today from last night?
It was rough. We only had, you know, six hours of sleep or so, but it's it's just the grind. Coach talked about grind every day, you know, and dealing with adversity, and that's what we needed to do today. It might have been tough for a lot of guys, but we came out and played, and that's what we had to do.
Guys, you can take off if you have questions for Coach.
Thanks, guys.
Questions for Coach?
Talking about that quick turnaround and just kind of the events, emotional events last 24 hours. Were you concerned coming into this game that there would be some carryover?
You're always going to have some concern. Concern about the emotional part of losing the game last night like we lost. Concerned about the physical part of bouncing back so fast. And, you know, Greg Solomon has caught every game for us. Basically went through a car wreck last night on that play at the plate. And then, you know, his extra stretching, extra heat, extra whatever it takes to get ready to play today. So, yeah, I was concerned about it. The thing that I wasn't concerned about was our guys mentally being prepared to compete. I wasn't concerned about that. I just was concerned with where they were, how alive their bodies were going to be. And yeah, I think you saw that in the first run they scored. That bunt play, I think we get that guy 9 times out of 10. The breaking ball in the dirt that skips through Solomon, that doesn't happen. He blocks that ball 9 times out of 10. I'm not blaming last night. It is what it is. You know, it's not an excuse. It's the way tournaments are set up. Illinois would have been in the same situation had we closed out the game last night. So that's tournament baseball. I'd like to follow up on something that, you know, it was mentioned, Mark, that this team had to do all the little things to be successful. And then you heard Tim say that we learned how to play. What I want to say is that's not just this team. That's going to be Ohio State baseball moving forward under Greg Beals. That you take advantage. I don't care how talented we get. That's going to still be the MO. Playing baseball the right way, maximizing the game of baseball is what me and my coaching staff are going to push every day in this program. It was something that was an absolute necessity for this season, and it's something that I think for great baseball, where we want this program to go, it's going to be a necessity in the future also.
Greg, you also mentioned something this past week about a lot of people being excited about just making the Big Ten tournament, but you've got bigger designs in the future.
Well, you know, I'm pleased with this team. But the bar for Ohio State athletics has been set. Our baseball program has a national championship in its history, has a large number of Big Ten championships, regular season and tournament. That bar's there. We didn't get to that bar. We got to keep working. We got to keep getting better as a baseball team to get back to that level. And although making the tournament was what was at hand for this season, we need to, in the future, we need to take care of business. So that's not that's not in jeopardy. That's not such a question.
How do you think you're going to remember this team years on down the road, your first team?
I'm thinking about the whole year right now. Family, my family at home. That's what I remember about the year. Just getting established. And I'll remember these kids for the fight they had. I think they knew who they were. And being a great competitor, you have to be self-aware. And they just fought their tails off. Whether they were as good or better or not as good, they fought and they fought and they fought. And you saw that time and time again from these guys when you thought, how in the world and somehow we got it done. Of all the great teams in Ohio State baseball history, this team this year was the first team to sweep Michigan at home in Bill Davis Stadium. Maybe ever, if I'm correct. This was the first team to go up at Minnesota and win a series on the road at Minnesota. First in history. That says a lot about the program in Minnesota. It's a lot about the rivalry that's been there between those two schools. They've been, and nothing against anybody else, but that's kind of been the class here in the last 20 years or so of Big Ten. So I have a lot of respect for that. I have a lot of respect for John Anderson and his coaching staff. And Coach Anderson said after the game, he just congratulated me on the season, says you're going to be good for the Big Ten. And that means something to me, because he's our dean, and for our dean to say that for the new guy, that means something. You can see I'm emotional. I talk to my guys about spilling blood, sweat, and tears, and I do it too.
What did you tell the seniors after the game today?
I told the seniors that they're going to be Buckeyes forever. And whatever I can do and whatever this program can do for them, all they have to do is ask. And I thank them for what they did for the program in their time here.
Greg, you signed 8 players already. How is that going to expand to how many?
Yeah, we've signed. I want to make sure I'm doing this politically or NCAA correct.
Well, I just need a number. I don't need
We have, we have the national letter of intent of 8. We've got verbal commitments on another 7 guys. The overall athleticism, the overall depth of the program is something that I was concerned about from the get-go. When you look back at this year and you see who took the at-bats and who pitched the innings, we leaned on some guys a lot. There wasn't a lot of help. We leaned on that front line, and fortunately they stayed healthy and they played well.
Just asking about the game, you took that 3-1 lead, and it had to feel pretty good the way Greg was pitching, but they came back and answered. I just have to kind of tip your hat to them.
Yeah, they did. They figured him out. His ball got up in the zone a little bit. They got some big hits. That's an offense that we've held them at bay for 4 games, and that 6th inning, I think it was 4 games of offense they threw at us all in 1 inning right there. And that's, again, that's baseball. They'd probably trade the 3 losses for today's win, because they're still playing now.